hands down, it's clear that Shea should be the MVP.
Most definitely.
I think so too.
Okay, but let me challenge that. Is that because we have MVP fatigue? We're going to call a timeout on that board. We are in Florida right now. We've taken our show on the road once again. The last time we did this was All-Star Weekend. And so now we've taken our show on the road again. This is the Wide Network. You guys are watching the Timeout with Dwyane Wade. We're here to talk about, that's the new thing? We got to do that like we're... Like,
No, I just did it.
Timeout.
We got to do this?
Timeout.
That's when somebody say some outlandish shit, because it's been a lot of that.
Well, this dude right here.
Timeout.
You might get a lot of this.
Timeouts are necessary, though.
No,
How do you
timeouts.
stop a run?
Hold on, let me
game?
keep introing it. Then we get to the time. Can I intro the show?
I need to intro the show.
Bob interrupted it with this.
I did break it up. My fault. Go ahead.
So we're here to take a timeout and to be able to do that right in the midst of our lives. We just got back together. We've been kind of on the road for the last 3 weeks. So with the Wide Network, you guys have been watching footage that we've already shot. We've been able to stay active, but now to be able to be present and on topics that's going on right now. I got my brother Chris Johnson to my right. Y'all know who he is. He the one we will get a timeout to. My brother Bob Matella's right there. Bob is one of the hosts. He's also behind the camera a lot. And you rocking the timeout hat.
He got the timeout hat.
And you rocking the timeout hat. We bringing our show to everybody. And we got the quiet one over there. The reason when he speak, you should listen. Real right. This is our original four right here. But you guys have gotten an opportunity to see other guests join our show. So our show is built around the conversation that happens right here with us four, but it's also too, we like guests to come in, sit down and join our conversation, and also you guys get a chance to get to know the guests that sit down. So we feel honored to be able to have this location. Shout out to Unrivaled for allowing us to come in, set up, sit down, and get a little behind the scenes of everything that's going here. D-Wright, I'm gonna start with you. When you got a chance to walk around this Unrivaled location and got a chance to experience everything that these women are being able to experience, what did you feel about everything you've seen?
It was dope. I was just here a few months ago, and I was able to come see a game. So I had that experience. So just the intimate feel. I've been to plenty of WNBA games, plenty college women's games, and just to be here, I feel like the atmosphere they created is super special. And then being here today and being able to see the behind the scenes, just the nursery, the recovery, the weight room, just the amenities that they created for these women to be successful and get better for whenever they leave here. So it's a great facility, great experience just to be here and just be a part of something. Lou, my guy, I've been knowing for a while.
Shout out to Lou, man.
Shout out to Lou for having us.
Thank you, Lou.
Yes.
But yeah, it felt real dope to see how far the women's game is coming and how much people are really caring and pouring into the ladies. So I'm all for, I'm a real hooper. I watch all basketball. Women's sports is super important, and these women are being very, very great taken care of.
Yes, they are.
It's pretty sweet to see.
Yeah, Bob, what is your first reactions coming in here? You was here before us. You got in town early.
I got in town yesterday.
Talk about it, the setup for this.
So for me, it sounded cool because I'm from Miami, and when they told me there was an arena place, I'm like, where? You think you know all the places in Miami? I was like, so I came with my man Jason, and we were like looking, and I found out. So I'm shout out to the partner with Unrivaled, Media Pro.
Media Pro, shout out to Media Pro.
Because it's the facility, because we in LA and we see like studio houses and like dope, like the spaces, right? I didn't know they had something like that here in Miami.
Mm-hmm. And you from Miami.
I'm from Miami, right? And I used to work around the corner in Doral over there making some Cuban coffee.
I used to live in Doral. I used to live out here in Doral.
So for me, to see something like they have the ability, because you see all the things, you see the recovery room, the nursery, 2 courts, the intimacy, all that stuff that happened in one space. It doesn't seem like it's the arena or like Dolphin Stadium, but somewhere in the city, but still have the space to do that. That was pretty dope, and it was professional. It looks like I was impressed. I was totally impressed. I left. Me and Jason was walking. I was like, man, who would have thought? Yeah. Right. And then to see the behind the scenes today, I was really impressed for a first year setup. Yeah. That's the thing that I'm really impressed. This is the first year.
It's only going to get better from here. Yeah.
So this is where y'all starting at. Yeah. Oh man, this is dope. So for me, I'm impressed all day.
Chris, man, 3-on-3 league. You're a big advocate when it comes to 3-on-3 basketball. You have your own 3-on-3 tournament that's coming out. Talk about your experience being. Obviously, you and I, we got a chance to be in practice got a chance to be amongst the team, talk to the women, hear what they're thinking as they go into these finals. But talk about your experience here so far in Unrivaled.
I just love trailblazers.
Yep.
I love people
Facts.
that go against the grain, because it's the people that don't always see your vision.
No doubt.
Right.
And, to the founders.
Yeah. The Fecia Collier,
Yep.
and also
And
to
Alex.
Brianna Stewart.
Yep, Brianna Stewart.
As the WNBA side of the founders, but also as other ones as well.
Absolutely. Those founders of the league, you're just trailblazers.
Right.
And for the game of basketball, we want to see it always move forward.
No doubt.
Facts.
And when you look at 3-on-3, to me, when I'm watching the NBA, WNBA, any type of basketball, it's always broken down to a small triangle.
Yeah.
And when you want to teach the game, you want to teach it from a triangle perspective. I know a lot of people look at, Phil Jackson, with the triangle offense, but what that really is teaching spacing, timing, and actions. And just being on the court, when we walked on the court, it was real. I feel like a hooper, like my shoes, I'm
Erica kept telling me go get my sneaks.
I'm like,
She kept saying go get your sneaks, and I wanted to.
and then
Right.
and then we get in a conversation with Coach Spoon, and I'm eavesdropping on them talking coverage and pick and roll. And I'm like, hold on one second. Let me come over to this conversation. What are you going to do? And so when you look at 3-on-3, 3-on-3 is a great teacher, and it teaches you also to play with pace.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times when you listen to fans talk about the women's game, they talk about how it's not as fast a pace. And watching them play at this pace is unbelievable. So I want to see them take this pace into the WNBA.
And how do they implement it? Yeah,
how you
sure.
implement this pace, because the pace is what make the game fun.
Yeah.
Because they're athletic, they can shoot it, they got a skill set. It's the pace.
No doubt.
Right.
And guys, we get up and down the floor quick. And so what you're looking at, when I walked on the court and I looked at the size of the court makes a difference in 3-on-3.
No doubt.
And it makes it its own. So this is a one-of-one.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the sky's the limit for what they're gonna do here. And we're just grateful to be able to have our show here.
Yeah, we're very grateful, man. Let's jump right into it. So when we had Ray here, we were talking about, obviously this is used as a tool of development for the players who decided to be here. Now, it's other ways of development. Some players go overseas. Some players stay with their trainers or locally and do the things they've been done. But you have an opportunity here to develop with some of the best players in the game of basketball, some of the best coaches, some of the best up and coming coaches as well. But you get to do it under one house.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that as we walked through here, we felt was most impressive. And so shout out to everybody that's putting it on behind the scenes here at Unrivaled that you will not get to see. You giving these women and these ladies an opportunity to go into the WNBA season, which starts in April, at the end of April. Prepared.
Fully
Right.
prepared.
Fully prepared. So let's talk about that. Okay, so they're not going to have a lot of time off.
No.
Do you guys think not having a lot of time off from this ending in 2 days to now the WNBA season starting in April, knowing they just came off an NBA season, some other women played in the Olympics as well.
Yep.
What do you think, D-Wright, when it comes to the time to start training camp?
Well, these women are a different beast. They've been playing year-round basketball their whole life. I think this dynamic, but playing 3-on-3 basketball is a little less toll on their body of going to playing in EuroLeague, China, those kind of some of the big cities that they go to. So I think the wear and tear on their body isn't going to be as bad if they were in Europe. So I think they've adapted to it. So I think they'll be able to flow right into their season with no problem.
But what does that mean? I'm sorry if you want to, but can you, in the midst of that, you played in Europe. Tell us what that wear and tear is, because the listeners out there may not understand.
Europe basketball is a whole different level. You're talking about practice 2 times a day.
Yep.
Everything is team, so you do everything together. So it's really not too much downtime for yourself.
Okay.
It's all about basketball. You're there for basketball. And it takes a toll on you. So when I got there, I was in my 13th year of being a professional, and I'm looking at guys as 18 years, 16 years of professional basketball only in Europe. And I had so much respect for those guys because you work extremely hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure you seen me come back one summer. I got all the way under 200 pounds because of the work. the workload, and just happen to be ready to grind and fight every single game. Every game means everything. I never forget the first game being there. We won a EuroLeague game, then we had a domestic league game, and we lost. And everybody around the locker room looked like it was the end of the world. I'm like, yo, I asked my vet, I'm like, yo, bro, why everybody looking at him? He said, D. Wright, you just do not understand. European basketball, every possession, every game means the world.
Yes.
So if we lose, it's like the end of the world. And he said, I know that's wrong, because we got 30 more games, but that's just how European basketball is. So just that wear and tear mentally,
that
physically.
mental wear and tear, and obviously physical wear and tear. Being away from your family, your comforts,
bro.
Being far away,
They put so much pressure on you to win basketball games, and that's just how it is. I respect it because I'm a competitor. I want to win every single game, but in European basketball, it's so much pressure to win.
What I looked at was the travel. They didn't have to travel.
Yeah.
So when you eliminate travel, getting on a plane, getting on a bus, overseas, it can be overseas. You can take a bus, a plane, and a train to get there. When you eliminate travel and you get an opportunity to rest, I think they're going to be better. You know how much travel takes a total on the body. Getting on and off a plane.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, they've created their own bubble here, right?
No
We
doubt.
talk about the NBA going into a bubble. What they've done is they've created their own bubble here that works for everybody.
No doubt.
And so it's amazing.
So when the Unrivaled came up, I ain't gonna lie, I was blinded. Like, I'm like, what is that? Like, is that a 3-on-3? I was thinking 3-on-3. I was thinking, what's the 3-on-3 league?
Big Three. Yeah.
I was thinking that originally, but I'm like, so is it something different? But I saw WNBA players in it, and I'm like, well, what's this? And so for me, watching it and just seeing it, like the one-on-one during All-Star that popped off, it was cool to see. But as this was being presented and talked about initially, for you guys, like, how did y'all look at it? Like, was it like something like y'all kind of knew what to expect, or is it something more like, oh snap, this is bigger than what I expected?
Yeah, I didn't know. I kind of took the Big Three mindset when I thought about it, but then when I heard it was going to be full court 3-on-3, and just all the dynamics of the game, I was like, oh, this is dope. This is going to be amazing. And then to hear that they had the partnership with TNT. So, I mean, we get to tune in. TNT is one of the biggest networks out there. So just being able to be on TNT and kind of showcase your ability. Chris talked about 3-on-3, how it really exposes who has a high IQ of basketball. So
And you get more possessions.
Yeah, more possessions, more speed to game.
You get to touch the basketball. I mean, when you hoop, sometimes you don't even need to shoot it. You just like, bro, throw it to me, I'll throw it right back.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can't go empty possessions when you run up and down the court. You playing defense, and you hadn't touched the ball. That's when you see the guy run the corner like,
Yep.
But
I've been there.
He run the corner like,
go ahead,
man, just throw it to me.
What Nick Young called a corner?
He call him a corner.
Nick one line.
Nick one line. He's a corner.
Yeah, facts.
No, I just think the possessions, man, it changes you because as a player, as a professional player, WNBA player, people put you in roles. Teams put you in roles. Coaches put you in roles. In this Unrivaled league, your role is automatically within the offense.
Yeah, you have to be. There's only 3 of y'all out there.
So you may see some other people develop offensively with more confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
And the coaches in the WNBA are watching them and say, I didn't know she could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a dope experience. I was more curious about how this would look versus them being trailblazers. You got to go against the grain. And when people start talking about something that's been there forever, overseas basketball for women has been there and it's paid, it's taking care of people's family. It's done a lot for people. I was watching Candace Parker, like her, what do you call it? Like her show.
It was an interview recently.
Not just an interview. She did a documentary, and she was showing her daughter being overseas with her. Mm-hmm. Now think about, we just walked by and seen a nursery.
Right.
And
well, De'Erica's daughter was just in here with her right now.
Sure. Right now.
Right? She's right here in Florida with her right now instead of being overseas.
That's 2 different experiences.
Yeah.
That mental, so the mental was wellness for you.
For sure.
1,000. Listen, it was a couple times D. Wright came back from overseas, and I was like, damn, where my boy at? Damn, You know what I mean? Because like he's away from all his comforts, obviously being a father, being a husband, away from his wife, being away from his kids. And so he's coming back trying to integrate into their lives.
Right.
And so he came back a couple times, looked like he was stunned. Like, I was like,
this is what we doing over here, huh? This is what we doing now? All right.
Yeah, I go back to when I first found out about it, Nafisia reached out to me and actually asked me to be an investor in the league. I didn't know what it was, so I did not invest in the league. I had just invested in the WNBA league, and so I'm a retired player. My money only stretch so far. You know what I'm saying? But also I go back and I'm like, dang. I wish I would have invested in the league early on. I just didn't know a lot about it, and I didn't, because of my investment in WNBA, I didn't understand what it was. But to their credit, and because they're on television, and now we get to follow stories, in the way that they've continued to publicize the women. Now we get an opportunity to be exposed to even more, and then now getting a chance to be here. I'm like, when the next investment round coming in?
No doubt.
We know Steph Curry, as you talked about, is one of the investors in this league. He has a group, and now they're allowing groups to come in. And so you got someone like me who is a serial investor. I'm looking for the next round because I want to be a part of this, not just this one location, but where the game is going to grow. And when you see this and you see the development and the opportunity to be here, you know why the pressure is on the WNBA, not for anything more so than you have to treat me like this.
No doubt.
You have to treat me like this. I ain't going backwards. And so when he talk about CBA coming up, these are things now that they've seen the other side that they get to go in and they get to put their feet down and be like, hey, we now rolling.
Power to the players, baby.
Yeah. So we talk about
They
player
deserve
empowerment.
it.
Yeah, they deserve it.
They deserve it.
For sure.
Can this be duplicated and put in other cities?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, because why it can be duplicated? They have the best of the best here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have the stars of the WNBA here. So it can be in different cities, but I like the little bubble that they created. And you get to, like Ray spoke about, you get to, learn other people's personalities.
Yeah.
If the Aces is calling, for a trade or that's free agency, then you get to have that one-on-one
work
time.
ethic.
Right. Yeah, you get to
who
see
about it.
Exactly. You get to see who you really want to team up with as well. So
Yeah.
it gives the ladies an advantage.
to learn.
Of going
You get to learn
somewhere.
too, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So
I forgot to do this, D-Right. It was some breaking news happened while we were about to start shooting this show today.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a chance. We were walking through, and we were trying we were in their practice. Shout out for allowing us to walk through their practice. But we saw an award getting handed out.
award, yeah.
And, we just cheered, but we didn't know what was going on. Could you tell us what happened?
shout out to Angel Reese, Defensive Player of the Year. We had the behind the scenes. We was we was walking back quietly when she was getting her award, and her teammates were embracing her coaches. So that's pretty special, man. So congrats to Angel Reese on getting Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year for Angel Reese. That's big.
Yeah, Angel.
My apologies, it's Nafisa Collier. I say Nafisia because that's how I try to pronounce it. I try to say
From
all the
Chicago.
things.
Chicago.
Listen, I'm
Standing.
Listen,
From
standing.
Chicago, that's a Chicago public
that's
education right there,
Chicago.
boss.
But listen, how y'all gonna come in Chicago? Wait a minute.
Hold on, look at
Y'all don't come in Chicago. That's public school. That's my public school education.
Time out.
Time out.
Time out.
Let them know, Flash. There's inner cities everywhere.
Hey
dog.
man, listen.
Next time, when I walk out on the court and running up and down
My
the
bad,
court.
Nafisa. My bad.
Spo's the best at that.
Spo walk on
Look,
the
Spo walk in the middle of the play. Bro, one day, he ain't gonna be able to get out the way. I know it's gonna happen. We gonna see Spo get ran over,
for
bro.
sure.
But yeah, shout out, man. So shout out to Angel Reese,
Yes.
obviously Defensive Player of the Year. We want to shift gears a little bit. We want to go into some current topics, and we're gonna jump right into the NBA. And the most obviously at this time of the year, one of the conversations that start to heat up is the MVP race.
Sir.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the MVP race, guys.
Me and D.
What
Wright
y'all
was
feeling?
just talking. We were just having a conversation about it, and I was saying that when you got the number one team in the NBA, OKC,
Okay, talk about it.
you got one of the top scorers. This guy has lit. I mean, he's went on a rampage, bro. I don't know what is going on, but I think it's hands down. It's clear that Shea should be the MVP.
Most definitely.
I think so too.
Clear. He's not a point guard. He's not a shooting guard. He's a guard.
Okay, but let me challenge that. Is that because we have MVP fatigue?
Yes. Yes.
We've seen.
I don't have MVP.
No,
I
I'm
don't-
saying we've watched Jokic get MVP
I just
multiple
watched him.
times.
I just watched him hit the 30 20 and whatever his numbers were. Before that, I was at the game.
Okay, yeah, you were out there.
He is a baller.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not tired of watching him get the MVP.
No, but what I'm saying, but in the sense that, because if he wins it, he's won 3 already, right?
I'm not
Man,
keeping
I ain't
track.
keeping. I don't know.
He got 3. He got back-to-back. He got 3.
So would you want to see him get 4?
If he deserved it.
Right? No, I agree, but you don't think it's mass that people are gonna be tired? Like they gonna be like, no, because if he gets 4,
No.
that's who's
Because he's that great of a player,
agree.
number one.
I agree,
There's
he's
only a
nice.
few guys that have 4, but when you look at what's going on and who's rising, man, them young guys got some swag
They
in
do.
OKC, bro.
They do.
They
30,
moving
20, and
good,
20.
bro. Huh?
30, 20, and 20. Nah, I voted. I'm gonna give it.
That's a game.
Wait. So what are you saying?
I'm saying, to me, I feel like SGA is definitely where my vote will go, and I think part of it is because, as a fan, as a person who watches matches, I have my rec league championship. That's all I got. I get it, but for me,
Do we need to call one?
Yeah, we might need to call it
Because we still have not seen this
Oh,
record.
matter of
Yeah,
fact,
and we're on the road, and I brought my
All
boy.
I know is y'all keep saying I got you. We're gonna call a timeout on that bullshit.
You go get it.
You're right.
Go get it.
Go to the crib. Go to the
Go to the crib.
Because I went to the stores and got all my stuff.
no,
When we go back when we get back off the road, I sent you a video. I sent him a video.
No,
Time out on that line.
no, but as far as like what I've been just, I'm finally accepting the fact that Jokic is. I don't know why. It's just for me as a fan because it ain't pretty, right?
It is pretty.
It's pretty, bro.
No, well,
it's pretty. It's so pretty.
It's so
it's not
pretty,
pretty
bro.
in the sense of what you should like traditionally pretty
Yeah,
for
but-
a non-basketball professional basketball
Okay,
player.
yeah, there you go.
You know
Say
what?
that. Say that non. Say the non first.
He's a civilian.
Yeah,
But
He's
you know,
a
I am a civilian.
civilian.
Yeah.
I am a civilian.
that
I am
makes
okay
sense.
with, but the
That's
thing
how
is,
civilians look
That's
at
how
stuff.
civilians look at it.
you see, I get that, but you see, the thing is, like how SGA plays, how I like to see basketball people.
I respect it. I respect it.
So, but I know numbers are numbers at the end of the day, and and now I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Now I know as a civilian around the non-civilians, I'm seeing basketball a little bit differently, and I'm like, okay, this he's doing something that ain't really been done before, right? Now I'm like, well, shit, do I gotta give it to him now? That means I gotta give him 4? Am I giving him 4? I'm like, and mind you, he could deserve it. I know part of the voters.
It's
is
not
gonna
about him not
give it to him.
deserring. I mean,
Right.
obviously
No.
he's in a
Right.
race.
But
When you're in
I
a
know
race, you're
voters are not
deserving
going to give it to him because of that.
because of the fatigue. Okay.
Because of that.
Respect.
That's it.
I think I love everything you just said, Bob, but I feel like with SGA being the leading scorer in the league,
Yep.
the number 1 team in the West.
True.
Talk that
And I
talk.
think even overall, they're the number 1 team.
They're the number 1 team
and-
overall.
Yeah, so I think that right there, that's the criteria. We always say, what's the criteria?
True,
You know
true,
what I mean?
true,
Yeah.
true.
Jokic is having an amazing year. He's averaging a triple-double.
Yeah.
His team is tied for second. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But SGA right now, at this point, is on top of his game and the best player in the league right now. We can
And
arguably say.
it's resulting in wins.
Yeah, it's resulting
and
in
that's
wins.
and that's ultimately
Okay. Yeah.
what it is. And one thing I've had an issue with in the MVP race is that Jokic has been so amazing, but it's probably been like 2 times where his team been in 5th.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I know that the Western Conference is a very challenging and tough league, but he's been in 5th.
Sure.
And he's
Right.
won MVP. So now the argument is now he's having the same year, if not better statistically. His team is second. And so that makes it hard. When like he said, he was like, yes, I feel that I'm deservingly of the MVP, that I'm deserving of it. But if SGA wins it, he should win it as well. Like I felt like his answer to it.
So you're saying it should be a co.
No, I'm just saying, like, they just made it hard when you allow, like last year, I thought SGA was the MVP of the
too.
league last year.
That's
Now,
me
maybe
too.
that was biased because I'm not looking at all the statistical categories. This is eye test sometimes.
Yeah, no
True.
doubt.
And my eye test, like you said, Bob, that kid over there that got all that swag. And it's helping that team with a young team go to that level.
Bro.
I want to see him raise that trophy. That was last year.
Right.
Now this year, he's come back and he's done it
done it
again
again.
at the same level or higher. And so, yes, please hand him that trophy. But this is the time of the year where you lose MVP as well. And I don't think people understand. We've watched certain MVPs get hawked down towards the end of the year. This is the time where the voters tune in a little bit more.
Hawked
This
down.
is winning time.
No doubt.
And so SGA is in the lead SGA got to finish it out because
you
you've watched past MVPs lose the MVP towards the end of the year when it's wintertime. Remember, this goes all the way into the deep. You don't hear about this until the playoffs sometime when they give this award out. They get all the way to the end of the regular season to decide who's going to win this MVP. So SGA got to cross that finish line.
Yeah, cross that finish line.
Right? What's our guy from the Olympics, Noah Lyles, who crossed that finish line on his head when he thought he had to win?
Yeah.
He got to cross that finish line.
That makes sense.
What's your thoughts, Flash? I want to know your mindset on this because I see a lot of people complaining about how SGA is so crafty at getting to the free throw line. I feel like you were one of the better guys in the league because it's an art. It's to get fouled. And I seen the numbers. I don't know if this is facts, but I did see the numbers where he's shot in like 500 free throws, and the next person is like at 400. So what is your art of getting fouled and shooting free throws, and what do you think about that?
Well, let's go back to Steve Curry when they made the trade for Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. That's what they needed. They needed a guy that can get to the free throw line. That's how you win ball games. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you got a guy like Jimmy who can get to the free throw line 12, 13 times a game. That's a skill. Yeah. That's a talent that not a lot of people possess. And so you gotta give that to him as well. Yeah. Right? Everybody game plan knows that SGA is going to have the ball in certain situations and moments. They know everything about this guy, and they still can't stop him from doing it. Man. Check. Yep. That's a plus. So it's a skill, but it's also, too, when you talk about winning, you talk about being a number one team in the West or in the NBA, you have to have a guy that can finish the ball game. And finish the ball game is not just game-winning shots. Yeah, no doubt. It's somebody who controls the game. Getting to the line controls the game. And so he does an amazing job of that individually. But what I love most about watching OKC is they defense, dog. Yeah, they fucking shrink the court. They do. Mm-hmm. They communicate and they talk, and they love defense just as much as they love offense. No doubt. And so that's throwback for me. You know what I mean? In this game where everybody can shoot threes, to see them doing what we do, D, right? Yeah. 2 more steps in, bro. Yeah. That closeout is going to be a little bit harder. Right. So what? It's hard to win. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of teams that stand close to their man because guys shooting threes and they just letting people blow by. OKC is not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they shrinking gaps.
So that's what I love most about OKC, and it's not just obviously Dort and Wallace and those guys. SGA getting his hands dirty in there too, and I love to see it.
Mm-hmm. You know what I love? Team chemistry, and a lot of times it's underrated, right? When you watch these guys take interviews, like I watch everything. Everybody in the camera.
Everybody.
But they have something different going every game.
Always.
But they celebrate each other.
No doubt.
There you go.
And where the game is today, we don't see a lot of teams celebrate each other. I watched a game the other day where I watched a player, they was up, they were winning, coach subbed him out, he walked straight to the end of the bench. He didn't want to come out. Game is over. And then you watch them, man, they're working together. So what's going on in that locker room is really good. And as much as we see the swag with SGA, he must be building
an incredible leader.
He
must be a leader.
Building something
because they want to follow. They want to be around him.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? You know how there's certain guys that, at that position, they can be a little aloof from the team because their responsibilities are so much different than all the guys on the team. SGA, he has his own sneaker out now. He got logos on other people's arenas.
That was a bar.
Talk about the logo. Talk about the logo on TD Garden.
That is flex mode. Bruce Wayne type shit.
Was hot.
Hell yeah.
And then you see what he did during the game.
He got a big win.
Well, no, he did what he do.
Yeah.
He did what he do.
But that's hard to do. You got to show
on the road.
up.
Yeah, on the road versus defending champions. But to have the marketing. Shout out to Converse. Shout out to Converse. I was with Converse for the first 6 years of my NBA career. Shout out to them. They're in Boston, right? So everyone knows the background. Converse headquarters are in Boston. But to have that ready to go when SGA came to town, beat the defending champs, put 30 on them, walked out of there, and then got the logo.
No, bad signal, bro. That is boss.
Yeah, that was cold.
That was Bruce Wayne shit, man. I'm telling you.
So I know people say like a lot of people might not know who the SGA logo is, as you're now getting familiar with it. But I love the fact that that's marketing. No doubt. It's allowing us now to talk about it. Yep. Yeah. So now we do know that is SGA logo because we're talking about it and we're starting to see it now. It's popping up in different places. Yeah. And so Man, I love that. Like the beam. That's a like the beam moment. Like the beam.
They ain't been lighting that beam in a long time down there in Sacramento, too.
Ooh.
One of my details is working with players on drawing fouls. And Jimmy has been one of my clients for years. No doubt. But if you go watch all of my guys, one of my key ingredients is teaching guys how to draw fouls. The first step is creativity. That's the first step. The second step is being able to see the game and body movement. So I see it like a boxer. One-on-one, where you got to adjust to counter punches, you got to move. You see hands, you see feet. Defenders move in different attacks. You got different point of attacks. When that hand is here, I can swivel, I can grab, I can move, I can rip through. You could be hand checking me and I can scoop your hand and grab the basketball and just run out of bounds.
Right.
Okay, but is that not playing basketball? Is that manipulating the game?
Well, only certain players can do it, bro.
Right, but is it manipulating the game?
It is.
It is.
It is. But you got to have an IQ to do it. And I have a formula to it. And the reason why I say it's a formula, when people laugh, it's how you do it with the greatest players. I did it right in my house. My son shot 17 free throws a game this year.
Yeah, he shot a lot of free throws.
He shot a lot of free throws. 40 points a game.
Wow.
And the first thing everyone says, bro, he just getting to the free throw line. And I was
He's just doing his job.
and he come to me and he say, Dad, I didn't get a bunch of highlights. I've been leading every event and scoring. And I say, free throws is not pretty.
No.
Yeah.
So, guys are getting 12 points and they bringing trophies over to them. He's like, I said, you just keep doing what you're doing.
No doubt.
Because they getting them highlight 12 points.
They getting the highlight. When he's scoring the highlight, but then at some point he dominates the game. So it is a skill set.
Okay.
No doubt.
So speaking of skill set, we talked about one of the guys who kind of in this new generation helped create and invent the skill set of drawing fouls. His name is James Harden.
He is the
James Harden came up. We got a chance to talk to James Harden at the Spades
All-Star.
event at All-Star, right? And James came up on that. And we were looking at James like, what's going on, bro? Like, why are you still doing
came
what
on
you doing?
stage.
Yeah, he came on stage. We was like, why are you still doing? How you still doing what you doing? And he was like, I'm in my bag. I'm still in my. He in his metaphor. You see the car he just pulled up in with the sneak.
It's a Maserati.
There was a Maserati. They called the colorway was Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
But
He's in his Metamorphosis bag.
He said he felt better than ever. He looked right at Dims like, bro, I feel great.
Yeah, he said, I'm here for a while.
I'm here for
a while.
And I feel good about basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that transition for James is the fact that he's not the number one option no more. You got Kawhi Leonard, who's their guy. Norman Powell, it's kind of like 2A, 2B with him and James. So the fact that James could come into every single night and he could get 20 or 30 if he wants to, but he's also been a facilitator. So that's going to make him have, more longevity as well, that he's not looked at to go get 30. So when we see him hit 50 like the other day, you're like, damn, okay. Like you said, he's still in his bag. So he can turn that on.
Bag.
Yeah, he can turn that on whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
James is very tough to guard in one-on-one.
Yes.
Pick and roll. To me, when he was with the Rockets, he was the best pick and roll player in the league with him and Clint.
Well, one of the best we've ever
watching,
seen in the league ever.
Right. With his passing ability. His ability to be able to read in that second level is next level. He can either float it or he can turn that floater into a lob.
Talk about that. The first level is kind of easy to make the read. You come out the first level, you hitting here, you hitting pocket, you going lob. That second level, once you get past that first pick and roll, you get a little deeper.
This is where the turnovers So his ability to have mastered that makes him so elite. His build, 6'5", 200 pounds.
He's solid.
So when he's in there, he don't turn it over much. His read is floater. His read is getting that big, that dunk. So if you go look at how his bigs play, his bigs normally are shooting like 60 to 70% from the field because he's putting them in position to score so easily in that second area.
Zubac is having a very, very efficient year, very good year because he's picking, he's rolling.
Yep.
With one of the best. James Harden is I went to a game once and I just watched James the entire time. This is since he's been with the Clippers. And James don't get enough credit. James is a basketball genius.
Yes.
That do not get credit for being a basketball genius.
Yes.
The way that he manipulates the game, but it's not just for fouls, the way that he picks the game apart, bro, it's masterful. Yeah. When you just watch James Harden play the game, it's just a beautiful brand of basketball that he's been able to translate into the different now generations of James Harden. And that's the hardest thing to do. That's why he will go down as one of the greats, because that's the hardest thing to do, is to continue to keep that up as you get 34, 35, 36. He's continuing, slow down a little bit. He's still one-on-one, he's going to tear you up. Yep, still can shoot that thing, still getting his teammates involved. And so, man, he's one of those basketball geniuses that do not get the credit.
And I feel like James Harden did what he did, and you could go look at the footage. He did what he did, so somebody like a Luka Doncic can walk. Because if you look at it, very similar, familiar games. James Harden took a lot of criticism for getting fouled and how he played the one-on-one ISO. And then we see a Luka Doncic, we're like, oh man, we've never seen nobody like him.
No,
James Harden did all that stuff
Harden did that.
at a high level, and he won, doing it as well. So I got a lot of respect for James. It's one of my young bros.
He added the mid-range to his game.
Yeah.
James?
Yeah, because in the Rockets system, they were only
No
threes
mid-range.
and layups.
No mid-range.
I mean, but that's how you learn how to draw fouls on that continuational drive. And then when you add the mid-range to him now, his game looked totally different. Remember we talked about it?
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I wish I can work with James, because I want to work with James in the mid-range. Because I want to see that, and now I'm watching that part of his game come alive.
Cold.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, he could post you up. He could do whatever.
Shout out to James Harden, man.
Yes,
It's one player that we feel that don't get enough credit, especially as he's getting older, man. You got to give the older guys that are still doing it at the level they're doing it at. You got to give them credit. Bob, who's your son's favorite player?
Steph.
Exactly. Perfect transition to what we want to talk about. Steph Curry just got 4,000 trey balls.
I'm going to have to clap to that.
Everybody clap for that. 4K.
That's amazing.
4K.
Steph and 4K.
I mean, D-Wright, you was there in the beginning of Steph Curry's rise to this. Like, man, this is amazing, bro.
It's amazing, man. I always clown with Steph and Clay about how they didn't even let me get to Philly before they broke my record.
You was still on the flight?
That's how I felt, because it happened so quick. But, for the people that don't know, my 1 year, one of the 2 years I was in Golden State,
Philly.
I left my mark as being, franchise leader in threes made. I think I hit like 195 threes, led the league, set a franchise record in threes, and then Clay and Steph just said,
see you later.
Chop.
Yeah.
Chop, chop.
See you later.
Yeah, so just to see where Steph Curry is, man, with his game and how he's changed the game of basketball is pretty impeccable. It's the right person. He puts the work in, he puts the time. He's a basketball savant, I know we like to say. So just to see him, continue to grow the game and continue to leave his mark on the game every single night he step on the floor, man, it's pretty impressive.
So why don't y'all think they don't put little guys on the Mount Rushmore? Why? This was a conversation that's floating out there, right?
That's a good one.
Someone talked about the point guard, just the point guard being one of the most important positions on a basketball team. We talk about that since the history of basketball.
Facts.
But when we look at the greatest players that ever played the game of basketball, we never put the point guard on unless it's Magic Johnson, who's a 6'9" point guard.
Right.
But like, why do y'all think Steph Curry will have a tough time moving into that Mount Rushmore as one of the greatest to play?
I think you look for dominance. That's why you see the big guys. So you talk about somebody like a Shaq, he was dominant. You look at Michael Jordan, he was dominant. Nobody in his era was able to beat him in the finals. So somebody like Steph, with his ability to change the game with his three ball, I feel like is dominant. They changed the game.
Dominant, bro.
Yeah, that's dominant to me, because it didn't matter. You remember these days, you guys were like that with the Heatles as well. If they're down 12 or 15, they still in the game.
Still in the game.
They still in the game.
Distance.
Striking
You know what I
distance.
mean?
Distance.
Back in the day, before those two eras of ball, you had, that's a win. If you up 15 with 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
With the Warriors and what Steph Curry was able to do, he was always in the game because his dominant ways of shooting the basketball around the perimeter.
Yeah.
Steph is not a traditional point guard, right?
Right.
But he is a point guard. And what makes a point guard is his ability to make other people around him better.
There you go.
His ability to move the ball But what makes him even greater is his movement without the basketball.
His body movement. His
And
body
so
movement is incredible.
I think he will move into that Mount Rushmore because we hadn't seen someone play the game at that pure stage. We talk about it, but we really don't see it much.
No doubt.
And I think he's going to play for a long time. I think 4K is just like touching the iceberg. To be honest with you, I think his 5K, 6K, when it's all said and done, because when you can catch and shoot with 0 seconds, like he can catch the ball and just shoot the ball. He can just catch and shoot, and he can use a screen. He uses his teammates. He's playing the game at the purest.
So you think he's going to play longer than his contract?
For
Right?
sure.
He got about 2 more years on his contract?
I see a five more years.
For sure.
So after this contract, one more,
sure.
get him about another 2-3 more years after that.
He gonna get, So that means he's going to get 5K.
But what you think Steph Curry wants to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Okay.
You seen Pops do it too.
True.
Pops
Yeah.
at the end of his career, he was just out there knockdown shooters.
Knock
Can
down.
I
down.
ask you two a question? Because I'm still writing this book, okay? And Steph is making this book more credible for me.
Yeah.
Because you two are golfers.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not. I'm a fake golfer, and Bob is a fake golfer.
Whoa.
We can call it timeout now.
Please. Time out, please. I'm better than you, though.
Well, we got to square up, Bob. I don't do that. We got to square up, Bob.
We got to square up in
We got
golf.
to square
we
up.
gonna have to.
We're
We gonna have to.
We're gonna have to square
You see,
up.
Y'all take a
Listen,
time out and
hey.
go do that.
So my Steph could be a pro golfer.
No
Easily.
doubt about
No.
it.
Easily.
No.
You don't
No?
think so?
No.
On the senior tour.
Look, stop disrespecting golf.
I'm not. But
No. Let's stop. We're going to time out.
you don't think Steph could be a pro golfer?
See, first of all, Steph Curry can be, let's take golf. Let's take basketball. Steph Curry in LA Fitness, incredible. Steph Curry in the NBA,
It's next level.
you can't take a guy to LA Fitness and put him in the league and think because he dominates LA Fitness, he can dominate the league.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Steph Curry would be an amazing golfer. He would not be a pro. That's a whole different level.
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing about Steph Curry's ability to be able to make golf shots.
Right.
Steph Curry hasn't had time his whole life to build what it takes to build to be a pro. Don't disrespect the pros
I ain't gonna disrespect
and the work
golf.
that goes into it because he's a scratch golfer
Yeah.
on a regular course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, golf.
It's like,
and the
y'all, let's not get this
correlation of
twisted, y'all.
basketball, the golf question was, I think golf is making him a better shooter,
For sure.
and
okay.
because of everything that you're talking about. Because I keep looking at the correlations, and I look at the game of basketball. I'm looking at the men that play golf in the off season. They play during the season, and it's something that is happening that's mental.
Yes.
That is taking him to another level to get into this zone to be able to shoot it
Yeah.
at this level.
We can't argue with you. I mean, D. Wright is. You got to ask him. He's better than I when it comes to.
I'm just
golfing
because
and being a shooter.
I'm writing some things based off of the people that I've been around, and they're unbelievable shooters, and they played the NBA over 14 years, and then you look at all the great shooters.
Yeah, I know what it is. You said it, the mentality, the next shot mentality. If I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble off the tee box, I got to punch out. I got to take my medicine. Instead of saying, hey, I'm about to curve this or draw this around a tree or fade it around a tree. No, you got to take your
You think
medicine.
you can do that, yeah.
And that's what golf does. It teach you that mental side. So I got to punch out, take my medicine, get it in the fairway. Now, next shot mentality, I got to get it closer to the flag so I could get that par, so I could tap it in for a par. So I think that's what it is. And also being a shooter. It's been games. I remember starting the season one time, I was like 2 for 27. And I'm all in my head. I wish I was playing golf because I would have took a different approach to the game and been like next shot mentality. Instead of worrying about me missing. I miss. So I think that's something that Steph is blessed to have with being a golfer is that next shot mentality, not worrying about what you just did the last shot. It's all about the next shot. So
Bro, that's to me in basketball, that affects your body language.
Yeah.
It affects everything, right? So I'm looking, and I just wanted to talk to you too on that because I got to figure it out because he's going to go down as the greatest shooter ever.
sure.
Well, yeah,
that
because
play
in golf, you want to do the same thing every time. You want your swing to feel the same every time. You want your routine when you step up to the ball to be the same because you got to take out the thinking.
Yeah.
And so all these things you have to do reps, these 10,000 hours, you got to do that. That's why I'm saying, like in golf, like these reps over and over again. We watching pros that don't make the cut in the Masters. We watching pros that have been doing this their whole life. They don't. It's still a lot of hours that need to be put in by pros. And so, yeah, it's repetition. It's routine. It's all the things that make you a great shooter. That's why the Ray Allens of the world, the Steph Currys of the world, like the J.R. Smiths of the world, these guys who are great shooters, because you have to do the same thing every time to be a great shooter.
Yeah.
And so, it's a lot of correlation between both. I want to translate to trouble. We said, we talked about golf, we talked about getting in trouble.
Right.
The Dallas Mavericks are in trouble.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks are in trouble. I think I've seen 15 bodies go down.
Yeah,
Bro,
sad.
they had like one point. They had like 7 guys. Like 7, like
went down yesterday.
I think would have broken something.
they got bit.
Bro, when we started this show, we was talking when the White Network went live. We were talking about the Luka trade, but we was talking about
the first
AD
one.
going to Dallas, Kyrie Irving. We was talking about what that could be, and this window is now. That window is
Close.
not now. It ain't right now.
Yeah, ain't now.
So how important is being healthy at this time of the year?
Well,
It's everything. It's everything.
Yeah. Yes.
If you want to win a championship, we all know you got to be healthy. So we've seen some of the greatest teams that was formed, get one guy. We could take Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
When he went down in that Toronto series. And that's one of their better players. So I feel so bad for somebody like Kyrie Irving. He's been playing some great basketball. They kind of threw him the keys, with him and AD being there. We just, like you mentioned, we talked about them getting back to the finals. I thought it was a strong team. Even though they traded Luka Doncic, I felt like they had the pieces to get back to the finals and be one of the contenders. And now just to see AD, go out there, his first game, looked amazing. And then, he had his I think it was core abductor or something like that. Now this injury to Kyrie Irving, I feel so bad for him because I know they wanted to get back. You just mentioned this with Ray. Once you get to a certain level, you want it. You become a psycho for it. So I'm pretty sure that organization, the fan base, everybody's just hurting to see their guys just falling down.
Accident
like
with Khari too, man. He's going down and he gets pushed off balance.
Come on, man.
And he steps on the defender's foot.
Yeah.
And he puts him off balance, and then he takes that bad left step, torn ACL. I mean, that's not nothing you can plan for or plan against. That's just something that happens in the game of basketball. Yeah. And you're looking at a ownership, a front office that made a one of the boldest moves in NBA history, and put themselves actually in a great position for like the now. And then everybody on the outside is thinking they don't know what they're doing now.
Right, exactly.
Now it looks crazy because you're looking at the roster. Now that you're about to see Dallas Mavericks have to, kind of rebuild themselves back up unless they have an opportunity in free agency to kind of right the ship a little bit. Right. But right now, the future looks a little slower to what they're trying to get back to because of now Kyrie Irving has to recover from ACL injury and AD has to continue to recover and a lot of other guys over there. So just a tough time for Dallas Mavericks and to be a Dallas Mavericks fan. But you got to stick with your team, man. You got to stick with your team. I've been a Bears fan, brother. Yeah. You got to stick with your team, everybody. So how you hey.
I feel for you, brother. Y'all ain't doing shit in free agency, and we ain't doing nothing.
Hey, first of all, the Bears been spending that money. We've been spending that money already.
I ain't heard nothing. Who y'all
That's
get?
the problem. See, you ain't. Don't worry about it. Hey,
no, I don't miss nothing, dog.
Hey, keep spending that bread, protecting. All right, putting that line, protecting K.
Okay.
So Golden State with Jimmy.
Golden
State with Jimmy edition.
It's everything. It's everything you expected, though. Everything y'all talked about.
They 13-1. They 13-1 since Jimmy's arrival.
13 or 14.
I knew it.
Well, okay. I'm missing games.
They only missed one, I think.
They lost one. There's only one on the lost column.
Bro, when you add a guy that can play without the basketball, period.
Bro,
he's always been a fit. I said that on one of our podcasts.
Yeah, we talked about
I was like, Jimmy's going to be extremely dominant when him and Draymond and Steph are on the court. Because now it frees up Dre too.
Yep.
Dre had 24?
23.
23?
Dre going nuts.
Dre going for the free throw line.
Talking that shit.
Dre, Jimmy, IQ and his ability to be able to play without the basketball, and then his ability to be a willing passer.
No doubt.
He's a willing passer.
Man.
So do you believe, Bob? Are you a believer in the Golden State Warriors? I ain't saying to win the championship, but are you a believer in the team?
100%. 100%. I just think for me, just watching it, eye test only, and just the numbers, yes. Like I already knew it. I'm in Miami. I love Miami. I've seen what Jimmy could do with a decent team around him.
Yeah.
And you got one of the greatest You have the greatest shooter. Not even one of the. You have the greatest shooter.
Yeah.
And then you got a defensive, just free safety that could just figure all that other stuff out with you, man. And so it's funny because you got Draymond in the back that could do all that stuff in the back defensive. You got Steph that could do all the shooting in the front, and you got Jimmy could do all everything in the middle.
I like how you did that.
You know what I'm saying?
Like how you did that.
Like so they every level covered.
Yeah.
Now everybody just got.
So they like Oreo.
Pretty much.
Because Draymond and Jimmy Black is. Steph is like, I'm just going, no.
No.
The other role players have been playing great too. Yeah. So I think they added Moses into the starting lineup.
Finally, gave him opportunity.
So my guy out there, and then
Kuminga came back too.
Yeah. He just got back.
He just got back. But the chemistry, it looked like they're having a lot of fun again.
Yeah.
I think they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah. What it is ball movement, player movement. I think that's one of the things that Jimmy strives in, and that's the Golden State Warriors way. High IQ basketball players. I've seen some of the best athletes and some of the most dominant on defense go to Golden State and can't figure it out because they don't have the IQ.
Right.
They don't understand, hey, if Steph Curry's in the paint, what do? You go down, you screen to get him open, and then now you got a layup or a dunk. So the fact that they added Jimmy, I feel like that dynamic, throwing the ball in the post to Jimmy, him understanding the split action.
Yep.
Jimmy throwing the ball in the post, him understanding the split action. So I think, adding that dynamic, and then we go on the defensive end. Now you got somebody that's a tough defender as well.
Right.
That's going to go after it. He's a leader.
Yep.
So he's gonna match Draymond's energy. You know what I mean? So that's what they were missing, in my opinion. Somebody that can match Draymond's energy on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end, Steph Curry, we got to get him open. Or if not, I get to go get in my back, and I got all the space to work with.
space to do it.
You know what I mean? So I think now it gives Steph an opportunity. Some games, he ain't got to score 40 and 50 to win a game. We could go down, throw it to Jimmy buckets.
Let Jimmy get 25, 28.
Yeah, he going to get his one. We also seen him put a team on his back and get him to the final. Was that back-to-back years? He got him to the final?
2 or 3 years. 2 out of 3 years.
So adding a player like Jimmy Butler just makes Steph Curry more dominant and, gets everybody else these open shots.
Yeah, I talked about it on, I was in New York. And we'll get to that, but I was on 7 p.m. I stopped in Red Hook, and popped in on Mello on 7 p.m. And I talked about, being in Chicago, when Jimmy Butler was dominant in practice, he was with the second unit, right? When like I said, the famous story about what he did in Minnesota is very well documented. Yeah. But watching Jimmy Butler in practice in Chicago, this is what Jimmy loves to do. And the other night when I was seeing, he had 15 points, he had 10 assists, he had 10 rebounds, he had a triple-double. That's Jimmy Butler's game.
Absolutely.
Now, Jimmy can score 56. I said 55. He scored 56 in the playoff game. He can get you 25 on the night. He can get you to the, he can have those moments. But that's not necessarily where Jimmy Butler's game is, especially at 35, 36 years old. And so now that he has the ability to be able to play with a team that understands movement, it makes Jimmy even more dangerous because Jimmy is a willing passer.
No doubt.
I don't think know a lot. He's a willing passer. That's why he wins with second units, because he makes everybody around him better, because he's not one of them stars that's going to get it and just hold it and go for their own. He's actually looking for you.
Yep.
And so he's now allowed to play the role that he's really, really was born and bred to play, with guys who are just as smart, with guys who want it just as much, with guys who take care of themselves. And Jimmy, Jimmy takes care of his body. Yeah. It's his temple. Yeah. Jimmy does an amazing job of trying to take care of himself, even with the injuries that he's had, to get back on that basketball floor. So he is in probably the best organization at this point for him. For sure. But Miami 6 years ago, when he got there, was what he needed. And that was the best organization for him to allow Jimmy Butler to come out and be that guy that we saw for 6 years. No doubt. But now, in his career, to be here for the next few years, this is the best place for him to be, because his ability to be able to be so unselfish, to be able to play with a guy like Draymond and obviously Steph Curry. Like, they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so they're going to be tough. They have good chemistry, bro.
OKC versus the Warriors in the conference finals.
Oof.
I think that we might see that. And right now,
where is Golden State sitting right now?
They're at 6 right now.
What about okay? So y'all go. Are we discounting the Lakers and Denver? This
no,
we
did. No.
We on topic. This ain't a discount show.
Yeah, we can go there.
Discount. No.
Okay, just since we're on topic, you know what I mean? They're the hottest team in the league right now.
I mean, when you look at it, defense win championships.
Yep.
And to me, the way Draymond is the anchor defensively, it frees Jimmy up also to do what you did very well. Free safety.
No doubt.
Jimmy's a hell of a free safety, bro.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Boy, he can read 2 or 3 passes away. He can get in the passing lanes. He can switch on to a big and hold down it for 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
Right.
They got 2 quarterbacks back there now. They got a quarterback and a free safety.
And can't forget Looney. Looney is just
This is
as
what
good
I'm
as
saying.
him.
Shout out to Looney, yes.
Sure.
So
And they got
defensively,
pedigree. They got championship pedigree.
Yeah,
they
they're-
know how to win.
Yep.
Let's
No
not
Let's not discredit that.
the ability.
Yeah.
And when we sat here and talked to Ray, we were in their practice. Teresa Weatherspoon talked about why they're the underdogs because they're the young team that don't have the experience that the Owls have.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have the same experience that the team that they're playing against. So they have to do everything perfect.
No doubt.
Because they're playing against people with more experience. And so let's not discredit the fact that you have the Golden State Warriors, you have the Los Angeles Lakers, you have the Nuggets, all these teams, you have these teams with experience, while you have an OKC trying to do something and trying to accomplish what they've done the whole regular season, and that's to be the best team in the Western Conference.
No doubt.
So we could possibly see that.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be good.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Those 15 games, there's no Jonathan
You just don't want to
Kuminga.
catch Golden State, bro.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they got a guy that
no
put you to
Kuminga.
sleep over there.
No
Night,
Kuminga.
night.
Yeah.
He put you to sleep.
Bro,
And he's coming
Bro,
back.
I went back and watched them Olympic highlights, first of all.
Come on now.
I know it's a documentary out right now that is that followed everything. What is it, quarter of gold or something like that?
Yeah.
Quarter of gold. I haven't watched it. I heard I'm on it actually. I haven't even watched it, but you sent me the clip.
I sent you a clip.
And the Steph Curry we talked about on the show, but just the shots that Steph Curry was,
Crazy.
Bro. Yo.
bro.
Yeah.
Ear
he-
tug, huh?
Bro, he was like, hey,
Run the play.
Run the play.
Run the play.
I need this right now. We need this
All
moment.
right, so the Cavaliers. Let's move on to the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the favorites right now. The Cavs. I mean, they've been hooping.
Straight
Yeah.
hooping.
Hooping.
I don't know what 14 is a 14 game winning
15,
streak now.
15
15.
games.
It's like they second
This they
one,
second
right?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been on a team that have went on multiple big streaks.
Yeah.
Right.
16.
It's
16 now,
because they
right?
beat Memphis last night.
And so we've been on teams like that. And when you on those big streaks like that, and you can go on multiple, the chemistry is off the charts.
Yep.
That's what it's showing you. Obviously, they're well coached. We all know that they got the coach of the year on the sideline.
Came from Golden State.
For sure. For sure.
Shut up.
Yeah, pedigree. Yeah.
But the chemistry, right? And that was the thing when Donovan went over there with him and Darius Garland and the guys. It took them a while, a little time, not a long time, a little time to build that chemistry. Now to see them go on these two big runs that they have where they're dominating, they're going on the road, they're coming back in Boston down big numbers. When Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown
Get him out of here.
get them out of here, they came back and won that game.
Yeah.
Bro.
Talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hunter, that trade that they made.
Yes, that's a big
That trade
Big
that they made for
yo.
Hunter, bro. He is a piece that they needed.
Knockdown shooter.
He's not only a
Knockdown
knockdown
deep.
shooter,
Knockdown shooter.
3-and-D.
he can defend. He don't need the basketball. He's a cutter, and he fits that team, bro.
No doubt.
Personality wise, I was like, oh, they got something going there.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna need forwards that can guard to win the East.
Can they be any better than they are? Like looking
Yeah.
at their roster, I'm just saying, like what? I feel like they got everything.
They do.
They do.
I feel like they got everything they
Their
need.
bigs are outstanding.
Yeah, I was going to say the development of Evan Mobley is off the charts. The
Yeah.
fact that now he's become a point forward.
He's a point
He's
forward.
getting the ball off the rim. He's, initiating offense, finding guys. And then Jared Allen being an anchor and also a lob threat, somebody that rolls to the basket hard. So I feel like they have all the right pieces to be successsul,
Yeah.
especially with a too big lineup that we don't see anymore.
Right.
I watched big fella guard
Yes.
Giannis the other day.
Who, Evan or Jared?
Jared.
Yeah.
He started off on him, and I wanted to see that matchup and see how he stayed out of foul trouble.
Yeah, what'd he do?
On his set? They won.
Yeah.
They ran him up out
Oh,
the
that's
gym.
right. They
ran him. It was
they smashed Milwaukee on the road.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
in
but
Milwaukee.
but he took on you guys know you got to have somebody that can try to slow down that train.
Yeah.
We just said that Giannis getting to the free throw line right behind SGA.
Yeah.
And so he did a phenomenal job on him, bro.
Yeah.
Because in order to beat Milwaukee, you got to stop that train.
Facts.
And that train is downhill
Coming.
Yeah.
the whole time, relentless. And I watched that matchup, and I was like, okay, they got 2 7-footers on the court.
Yeah.
And he's able to guard this guy. Now I'm starting to look at Boston and Cavs matchup for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Now, do you think because Boston won it last year, do you think that gives them the edge?
Yes.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, of course.
1,000%.
1,000%.
But I like to let me get Donovan Mitchell some love, right? Donovan's had success before. Let's talk about Utah Jazz, Western Conference. They was the best team in the league when he was in Utah. And his last couple of years in Utah, he had a few injuries he was dealing with. But it was a point where Donovan had that team in the Western Conference Finals as the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Right. He goes to Cleveland as the best player most nights on that team. Donovan Mitchell is doing what Donovan Mitchell do. And we got a chance to talk to Donovan at All-Star as well. That was the cool thing about being there, man, being able to have the players come up and having moments with the players, the active players right now.
Yeah,
That's one of the
no
cool
doubt.
things about us OGs being at All-Star. And Donovan just looked like he was in a good place. And I saw him his last year and the last 2 years in Utah, and Donovan wasn't in a great place, right? And now he feels like everything's calm in his life, you know what I mean? And when I saw him, he just felt light, and he looked confident in himself. And no insecurities in Donovan when we watched him. And so when you see him play, you see that. You know, you see he's not having insecurities out there if this guy's having success or this guy's having success. He's being Donovan Mitchell. He's doing what he needs to do on any given night. And that if Donovan Mitchell plays at the level that we know he can play at, the Cleveland Cavaliers have a great shot to win a championship.
He's going downhill, bro.
Bro, but he's shooting that ball
he can shoot
too.
it, but that's what he's been doing. But remember, when we go back to Utah, when he was playing elite, he was down here. He looked like you. He looked down here.
Yeah, but his
He gotta
weight
get
down.
His weight
down now.
He getting down here.
He getting down here. He punching.
He punched that
He
ball.
being
the other day.
Spider
I was
again.
Like, oh my
He healthy,
goodness.
but he's confident.
He's confident.
And I think, you know, obviously for him, he has another. Donovan always talked about needing another dog. That he always talked about that. My conversation with him, he was like, "I want a dog. I want a dog."
Yeah.
Well, Darius Garland is another dog.
Darius is a dog.
Yeah,
And he has that. He's a problem.
Darius had a great offseason with us, bro. It was so good to have him back in LA and fully locked in, putting in the work. You know, the one thing that I've learned from listening to my NBA point guards is getting stronger in the weight room.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you get caught on a switch and they try to bully you or you get exposed in the playoffs or in big moments, that's what he talked about. He was like, yo, like I want to be able to defend
Yeah.
every position. And I want to be a better defender. And he got better. He got way better, bro.
We everybody, we taking the time out right now to talk about sports, man, talk about all things. And I love segues more than anything. Like, that makes beautiful TV. We just talked about the playoffs. Here goes a segue for you. Your son, my godson, just got knocked out of the playoffs, high school playoffs. And this is a conversation we want to have because we can.
God.
Sierra Canyon.
Look at his face.
Take it from here, D, right? Take it from here. So your son, so my godson, your son got knocked out of the playoffs versus Sierra Canyon. I talked to you. I was like, D, right, what happened? You said
got fucking cheated. Point blank period.
He
The
got
second
serious.
time. And listen, I'm be all the way 100. I don't I've been a coach, I've been a player, I've done it all. I've never ever blamed referees. That's just me. You know what I mean? What did your team not do to be successful?
Yeah.
But when you in high school basketball and one team shooting 30-something free throws and you only shooting 12, maybe, it's some BS going on. So I don't want to take nothing away from Sierra Canyons either, because they did play a great game. Gavin Hightower, who was one of our kids, Maxie Adams, who's one of our kids for Team Why Not, played outstanding.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was some parts of the game where we didn't get that same whistle. You know what I mean? So congrats to Sierra Canyons. They did win the state
went on and won the
championship.
state championship.
So that made me feel even better because they went down there and laid an egg. I would have been upset. But I got to give a lot of credit to my guys at Redondo Union.
There you go.
My son, Devin Wright, starting with him. Man, thank you. Thank
on,
you,
nephew.
fellas. Thank you, fellas,
on,
for
nephew.
showing up to that game and sitting my son down and really giving him a different voice.
Yeah.
Because when you guys came to that game and you guys saw him hoop and you analyzed his game, you saw what he could get better at, and he took that shit
We
serious.
sat down with him and talked about it there after
right
the game.
there, bro.
Real
And he
talk.
listened, bro. And not saying that we have anything to do with the success he had towards the end, but like you said, sometimes you need a different voice.
Man.
You need a different way in.
Yes.
And Dev had an amazing end of his year of doing all the things that he can do
most
at
improved.
a high level.
Not a chance. He was the most improved on that team, man.
No
To see him hit shots at a high level, see him be able to slide them puppies and stay in front of guys, taking
Slide
charges.
them puppies.
He was just Draymond Green this whole postseason for his team. You know, making an extra pass.
And we talked about that.
But yeah, man. I want to give a lot of love to my son Devin, man. He put so
Shout
much
out to
work
Devin
in.
Wright.
Nephew.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Dev, big summer coming up.
Yes, we're
All
looking forward to
no
it.
pressure, all the pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure, all the pressure.
All of it.
All right, so we got a couple more topics we want to talk about. We're going to get to this topic about Brandon Jennings. And we all are hoopers. And we all I understood a lot of what Brandon Jennings was saying. When Brandon Jennings said that a lot of guys in the NBA, he was pretty much like, they're not better than me.
Right.
Lace them up. One-on-one, we talked about the one-on-one tournament here at Unrivaled. It's different when you talk about one-on-one talent versus guys that can have team success.
Right.
And so he talked about Drew Holiday, who's had a better career, but he said Drew has never been better than him. But Drew has had a better career because he's been put in health. He's been healthier,
Yeah.
and he's also too has been on better teams than Brandon Jennings. But Brandon Jennings was very adamant about him being a better player.
Man.
Why did he choose him specifically? That he had to go.
No, they just brought it up.
Conversation.
okay.
It's conversation about guards.
Okay.
And I hate when my LA guy. Well, it's not even they're going back and forth because Drew hadn't said anything, and that's the type of guy Drew is.
Right.
He's just a cool, mellow guy. We all know BJ. He's very outspoken. He's gonna tell his truth, and we can't forget Brandon Jennings was the #1 player in high school.
For sure.
Same
sure.
player. He's the #1 player in
sure.
high school. One of the best mixtapes that we ever seen in high school.
I remember.
So I understood what he meant by that, and he also cleared it up for the people that just wasn't educated on that information. He was talking about from the age of like 12 to 20.
Said they'd never been better than him from
he'd never been
growing
better
up.
than him. It's definitely, it sucks that injuries are a part of the game. We all know Brandon, tore his Achilles and that kind of messed up, his flow. What he did as a rookie, can't take that away from him.
55 as a rookie.
Yeah, and we also can't take away what Drew Holiday did in the league. He was an all-star. I played with him when he was an all-star in Philly. He's a champion now. So
Two-time.
Yeah, two-time champion. So
Olympian.
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 It's good to see, the conversation, get those
It's barbershop
clicks.
talk.
Yeah, it's barbershop talk.
It
so,
keeps the game fun, though. I think when you get different personalities on podcasts, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for barbershop talk. It makes people talk about the game of basketball.
True.
And it allows you to see different people, how they see it, from their lens.
Yeah, I mean, listen, BJ, Brandon Jennings is one. I love him. I always told Zaire, who's a lefty, I always like, you look at guys like Brandon Jennings. You got the same body type as him. You had a kind of a same route, a little different, but like going overseas and all the things that Brandon Jennings had to do. But he was incredible. Like when he first got in the league, scouting report, he was on it.
Yeah,
like he was on it. This kid can go off for 50. You gotta contain this kid, right? And like you said, injuries are a part of it. But once again, what I love about what Brandon Jennings has done, let me take it somewhere else, is, we all have a dream. We all have, a vision for ourselves. And sometimes it's another plan for you. And even though he was an amazing athlete, we never got a chance to see him fulfill that. But now we get a chance to see him in his other stage of his life, a tough crowd, and his relationship and what he's building, away from the game that players are all of us are supporting and being a part of what he's building with Tough Crowd, his relationship with Steph Curry and Under Armour, being one of the first athletes with Under Armour, going back, being a designer for them in the collaborations. And so he is an important part of the culture of basketball.
Yeah, he's a trendsetter.
He's a trendsetter all day.
Yeah.
And so, I just love the passion. Yeah. And I love the fact that Gilbert was hitting them with that plug.
Yeah, you already know Gil
was
gassy.
55.
Gilbert was playing. Gilbert put his wrist up like this and spin the
Hey, I gotta give a lot of love to Gil, man. He's one of them dudes. He understands what people gonna tune into. So he's definitely figured that out.
Yeah, he has.
BJ
bro.
as well. They know what they doing.
Bro, they brought out Stephen A. Smith with roses.
that was killer.
They brought him out
Like
with
Coming to
Coming
America.
to America,
Like
bro. They
Coming
had
to
security.
America.
They had security standing behind them. They brought in his own Stephen A. security, dog. Like I looked at it one day and I said, "Oh man, I'm watching the BET Raw Uncut sports talk show. Like it is entertainment at its finest, and I love it because everything don't need to feel and sound the same.
No, for sure.
And so shout out to Gil's Arenas,
Gil.
shout out to Gilbert Arenas and
the whole
Kenya
group,
Martin
yep.
and Nick Young and all those guys who sit on that chair for bringing us the game and bringing us entertainment at the same time.
same
It's like
time,
salute
bro.
from the Wide Network, bro,
Yeah.
of what y'all doing.
I love it.
Love it.
Last topic. Nothing happened?
No.
Nothing happened this past week?
Oh, my bad.
Nothing happened? Did nothing happen this past
We're
week?
gonna look right past
Did
that.
nothing happen?
Today,
I'm like, no, what the fuck happened?
Tupac said it best. Keep your enemies close
And watch your homies.
It be your own
man.
people.
Hey man, let's give our brother some love. It was the Today Show, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Congrats on that, man.
But yo, I ain't gonna lie, you did that. You did that though.
Yeah.
Like honestly, watching you, it is so good to see you do. I've always loved watching you do non-sports stuff. Like obviously when you did the game show, like just that. So seeing you up there was natural. Seeing you up there was real natural. Like I was like, yo, you get it with the fits, you jumping on trampolines, you out there. Like I'm like, yo, look at him. Yo, how'd it feel?
I mean, it felt great, bro. And I think the one thing what I felt when it's live from 10 to 11, right?
Yeah.
It's live.
Damn.
I'm not used to doing nothing live no more. Basketball was live. And so what read and react is all you're gonna do once the game starts. Yeah. And so what I loved about this week, being able to host the Today Show, shout out to NBC for giving me the opportunity to not only do the Olympics this summer, but also to come in and be a host for the week of one of their hours, the fourth hour. Everybody there was so gracious, first of all, to us.
That's what's up.
Like when you talk about success, you talk about winning. As we know, it's a collective, it's a camaraderie, and we felt that just being there every day that we walked into the Today Show, and obviously Jenna Bush is her show. And she's incredible. She's an incredible host.
Yeah.
She made me feel comfortable, you know. And I think the one thing that I learned when I got there was the producers letting me know that I wasn't there to be a guest, that I was actually there to be Jenna's co-host. And so that, you know, how much my voice mattered. You know, she was helping me learn my cues of when to step in, you know, when to talk, when to sit back and let Jenna shine, and then Jenna letting me shine. Like, it's teamwork, you know, in the midst of it. It's a 1 hour show. It's a cadence of the first 10 minutes conversation, and everything else from there is a 5-minute block. Okay. Right? It's a 5-minute block.
It's like practice.
Yeah, bro.
It sound like
and
practice.
you on, and it's live. And, you know, once you can prepare all you want, you read the notes, you know who's coming in. Like, we're athletes. We know how to watch film. We know how to take notes. We know how to prepare. And so I'm going to walk in there prepared. Yeah. And I was prepared, but when it goes live, you got to throw that out the window, and you just got to read and react.
That's a question I got for you. Like, what type of preparation do you do for something like that?
Yeah.
Knowing you're going to be on live TV, knowing, you know, you got all these notes and try to follow those notes, because I've always been one of those guys that took notes and then it messes me up thinking about those notes. So how locked in were you to those notes, or was it a lot off the top of the dome? Like, what's the preparation for you to do something like that?
So just giving y'all the routine of it. You get every night about 5 o'clock, you're going to get an email.
Okay.
The email is going to give you the rundown of the show. The show is all in blocks. And so it's A, B, C, D, E, F. That's how many blocks it is. Okay. And so the first A block is a 10-minute conversation with Jen and I. And we're going to go over the next day of what those topics can possibly be, but it also can take it anywhere. Okay. And then from there, you know your blocks. And so now the B block may be Chris Johnson is coming on as our host. We get 5 minutes, as our guest. We get 5 minutes to talk to Chris Johnson about what he's there to talk about. Just win. And so we know that. And so we get notes on Chris Johnson. They give you an opportunity. You can look at, he got this coming out. You can watch the trailer to his movie. You can go on their Instagram and look at some. So they give you all the information about the guest that's coming in. I take it a step further. I go find my own information out. And what I do is I take notes on it, I lock it in here, and then I just let it go. Because when I get there, when I'm sitting with that guest, when I'm flowing, these things are gonna flow back to me because I've already did the work. And also too, the network give you cards. You have questions on there if you need it as well. So you know, teleprompter right here, Dwyane Wade, your question coming up next. You gotta know how to ask that question, when to ask that question, but you also may need to pivot. It may be only a certain amount of time. So you gotta learn the cadence. But preparation was important because you put everything in here, and then, like I said, now you read and react. But when they sit down as a guest, you need to know enough about them because they're there to promote something. And your job is to make sure that they promote what they're there to promote. And so it was cool just learning the cadence. And there was a couple times on the first show when I didn't, like my name came up and I didn't know how to jump in because you don't want to interrupt.
No doubt.
You want them to get it out. And then Jenna would just read the question. I'm like, okay. And so I went back and watched film and I looked at my notes. And then if you watched me as the week went on, I knew how to jump in. I knew how to make sure that I got my questions out because it sounds different coming from man, woman, right? What I care about versus what somebody else care about, but also too what they're there to promote. Okay. And it's my job to get that out. And so the preparation is no different. I prepped every night about 9:30. I prepped from about an hour, just watching everything, getting myself ready, took the notes, and then the next day I come in and we got all of our meetings and things that we need to do to continue to understand what the day is going to be like.
That's fire.
So man, it was
the week
amazing.
Before that, you had your speech coach in there, right?
Yes, and yes, that's what we do, right? And so my speech coach, my vocal coach, shout out to Arthur Joseph. Right. That's my trainer,
right? Okay.
Right, that's my trainer to go get me ready.
That was the week before, though.
That was the week before. We was at the studio,
right.
fly on the wall. I was sitting in there with Arthur.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is, like I said, I got to read teleprompter. This is not something I do every day.
That ain't easy.
It ain't easy to get the cadence and it's moving, and you gotta pathetically,
see, some people go to
you got to
sleep.
say these people's name, and you got to finish these people's name. You got to, it's certain words that come up. You got to be able to hit that word. I messed up a lot of words. Like I'm still learning how to. I'm in school at the same time when I get a chance to sit down with Arthur and learn certain things. Like it's a lot of things that from my public school days, things that I learned that I use that I need to get rid of.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so I'm trying to learn how to be, better when it comes to just even how, even how I pronounce words or how I say words. And so I work with somebody to help me with that. And not just be somebody that's going in and think I have all the answers. I want to be better and better and better.
That's so dope,
getting there early, reading the teleprompter. Very important so I can feel my cadence. I can see my cadence. Getting there early so I can get hair, makeup, all my outfits. Like I was on time. And when I say on time, I mean I was early. I got there around 6:30 every day, 7 o'clock at the latest, and we didn't go live to 10.
So could you feel the energy? Was it was a live show to live audience?
It wasn't even a live audience.
Oh, really?
It was just the crew in there.
Oh, wow.
It's live to the cameras, and so you got to create your own energy.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so that first 10 minutes when Jenna and I walked to that desk, we have to create our own. We got to create the laughter. We got to create the energy. We're talking to America. We're in your house. We're in your living room, and we got to bring energy so you don't turn that TV off.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No
doubt. Don't turn the TV off.
So it's personality based. It's human interest. You got to have interest. You got to be curious.
Right.
It's a human interest to it. Obviously, it's games, and also too, it's promotions going on. Like people are out there. We're selling things. We're telling people, hey, this is what you should use. You should use this makeup, this makeup kit. You should use this nail kit. Like you're selling things to the world. So you got to educate yourself.
Right. Sharp.
So man, I just long story short, man, I had an amazing time, and I've done a lot of things while I was playing basketball, and since I've retired. This was the first thing that gave me that
butterflies.
Yeah, that anxiety a little bit. Yeah. Butterflies the night before I can't sleep because I'm anxious.
Yeah, no doubt.
I want to do a great job.
But we were watching too. So like we can't help you. I was watching. I'm like, my boy on. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Let's see what he got.
We on
because I seen him preparing with the coach.
Yeah.
I know you putting in the work, and then it's game time.
But I felt like you guys, and I feel like everybody who watched, they got a chance to get to see me, the me that y'all get to see.
Yeah.
Right. I felt like I didn't have to put on for anybody. Yeah, that was me. That was normal Dwyane Wade. Right. That was like it's TV and there's things you got to say and do, but I didn't have to be anybody but myself. Y'all saw me up there with my jewels on, with my fits on, talking about my nails. Like I'm just being myself. And like when they put you in that position to be able to play to your strengths, right? You know how it is as athletes. When we can play to our strengths, we some bad boys. We got to play. When they don't put us in a position to play our strengths, we struggle. They played to my strengths, and I walked in there wanting to try something and do something and be honored for it. I walked out of there like, man, so would I move to New York?
Man.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, get your show, man.
He was
next
to
New York, next Arsenio
He
Hall
brought the bag out. Everybody talking about that bag.
What
Bro, you brought the lean bag out. I was like, that's cold because that's who you are.
Yeah, that's who.
Bro.
That's who you are.
That's how we roll.
He's like, bro, I got this in my bag. I'm like,
yeah, bro.
Yeah,
I really felt you. When I saw that, I said, oh, we comfortable.
Yeah, I was comfortable.
I was like, we comfortable.
And I feel like it put a decision on my plate. And, and then we've had a lot of internal conversations, not because I feel like they've offered me the job, but because I felt like that was a job that I could do.
Yeah, no
and I
doubt.
felt like that was a host that I would love to do it with. And I felt like that was a team I would love to be a part of. And so it went in and it changed my trajectory of what I was thinking about my life.
Yeah.
And when you make a plan for yourself, you think you got it figured out, and then something like that happens, and then you like, would I move to New York?
Yeah.
And so I have a big decision to make in my mind of like, do I want to go down this road and say, okay, I think I want to shift from being an athlete, commentator and play-by-play and in studio to I might go to the studio and I want to be on this side. I want to be in front of America, and I want to doing the Today Show as a host. And so, man, it was great. But I would say this here on the Wide Network, you know, I love where the conversations are going already. I love internally what the conversations we're having. Just from my first week of hosting, I hope they bring me back.
Yeah.
So I get an opportunity to, you know, continue to be in front of America and continue to, if everybody get a chance to know, you know, who I am and who we are.
Right out.
The man that we are, the 40-year-old men that we are, and how we talk about things. And I got a chance to promote the Wide Network.
Yeah,
We saw that.
Bring my boy
week
back.
long.
Bring my boy
I got a
back.
chance to talk about this show, what we're
Yep.
building, what we're creating, and everybody was so supportive of, you know, us having our own microphones and being able to talk about things in the way that we talk about it. Like today we talked about sport, but we've also talked about my kidney cancer on here. We've also talked about being dads on here, being fathers on here, being husbands on here. Like this is a platform, and so being able to promote the Wide Network while I was out there in New York was super duper important. That was cool. That's our show, man. You listen, once again, man, we here, the Wide Network. We have this beautiful location here at Unrivaled. We call this Unrivaled Studios, but we at the arena to be able to come here and sit and not only talk about what's going on here and what they're building here at the Unrivaled, what our ladies and what our women are doing here. We also get to talk about, you know, everything around basketball.
Okay, so if you haven't done so, make sure you hit that bell right there. It's to turn on your post notifications, because every time we drop, you need to tune in, get in those comments, because some of our show topics will come from the comments because we build community here. We're all about community. We're all about youth and the people. So make sure you're in the comments.